Let me record.
Recording in progress.
Welcome everyone to our emergency board meeting.
It's
And-
not actually an emergency. We had more than 24 hours posting.
Okay, to our
Just a special board meeting.
a special board meeting that we're calling tonight. Members present, myself, Sarah Archibald, Marta Barlow, Carrie Shippers, Thesa,
And Christian is audio. He called
and
in.
Christian just called in. He's audio. Okay, so we have our quorum. And do we have, is our Chalice or Tanya, Veronica, any of them here tonight?
No,
Okay.
me.
All right. And Carol Gregg, your administrator. Let's start with our verse as we open. I'm wondering if someone has, Carol, could you read the verse tonight? My eyes are not reading the small print on this right here.
Not a problem. Oops, let me get to the
Verse
right.
for America.
May our feeling penetrate into the center of our heart and seek in love to unite itself with human beings seeking the same goal and with spirit beings who bearing grace, strengthening us from realms of light and illuminating our love, are gazing down upon our earnest, heartfelt striving.
All right, thank you. We will defer our Steiner study and the board capacity building tonight and public comments to move right into our administrative report. We reviewed the minutes at our previous meeting on the 17th, and our administrative report will be by Carol Gregory, and I'll turn the time to her.
Okay. I'm gonna try and share my screen. To help us get through some of this, but I've got things spread all over the place. So the first item that the calendar has been sent to the board for the 2026-2027 school year. This calendar was devised considering Alpine District, Nebo District, and Provo District, from which we anticipate students coming. We tried to balance the terms with and align them with breaks. And we're very intentional about parent-teacher conferences being half day on the Thursday and no students on Friday so that we can have parents come in throughout that day and the teachers don't have to stay super late 2 days. We were also intentional about our professional development. Here in January, this professional development day is after the Alliance Conference. Our teachers will be in training from Friday through Sunday. So while we have this as a professional development day, everybody stays home those 2 days. Students are done on the 28th, and then we have wrap up with the teachers that first week of June. The teachers also come at the beginning of the year. We're soft planning on Saturday, August 1st, a ribbon cutting ceremony for getting into our new building and kind of a move-in party based on the needs that we have for that. And then intentional planning during these 2 weeks before school starts for teachers and families to help us get our classrooms ready on top of all of the traditional teacher trainings. Fall break is a long weekend rather than a whole week. And it's right after our parent-teacher conferences and then usual holiday breaks and spring break.
Is there any special consideration for festivals?
Not as far as days off in this calendar as it stands. This is just
The basics.
the basic of when students and families are planning on coming. We are working on a festival calendar that will be published in addition to this. But this is just, you got to know first day of the
Yeah.
term, last day of the term, what are the days off? So that's
The
what
count. Yeah.
and meets our daily attendance guidelines from the state.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent question. Any other questions?
How many snow days or potential snow days do you have baked into this calendar?
none, but there are some one-day holidays and shortening spring break
That could happen.
possibilities for that. Mhm.
Okay. I'm
I
just
think
wondering if
I think
parents,
there's also Utah allows for us to do online instruction days instead of taking snow days. And so
Okay.
that's something that we can plan for.
I just
So
wanted,
that's what I was gonna say. Do you have to have snow days planned if you plan to do instructional days?
Mhm. And like really these one-day holidays throughout the spring are those days, and if it comes down to it, you can cut spring break a little bit, but this year we didn't even get snow until March, so
I know.
and I don't even know if it was enough to close school, but other years are very different. So it kind of depends. I also think that our start time being 9 o'clock already helps us in that
Yeah.
late start planning that that our families will know if it's viable for them to get there. They have enough time in the morning for the sun to start to come up.
Also, Carol, is there a half day on the days where we break for, large holidays?
Some of them, that's these blue ones. So the day before Thanksgiving is a half day, the day before Christmas is a half day. For our parent-teacher conferences, there's a half day and then no students, and a half day and no students. And then
Carol, on your computer, I'm seeing the issues with, I'm seeing the public comments page. Do you
Oh.
have, could you show me the calendar
I
page?
thought you were looking at the calendar. Let me put the
Okay,
calendar
no.
on.
So,
What is going on? I
Oh,
don't.
thank you. Now I can see it. Yeah.
yeah, now we
I'm
can see it.
sorry.
That's better. Okay.
I thought
Can you
that,
pull it up just a little bit? Yeah.
yeah, I was trying to. It wanted to double tab things. I guess it was sharing a screen that I didn't realize I was sharing. So
So this is, so the 22nd, there's a half day. Are these blue
Mhm.
days half days then?
so the light blue is half day. This purpley day is no students. This is our parent-teacher conferences in October
Okay.
and in March. So a half day on Thursday for parent-teacher conferences, no students on Friday, so that our teachers can leave at the normal time and we have parent-teacher conferences throughout the day. The 18th is both the end of first semester and second term, as well as half day before the 2-week winter holiday. And then Thanksgiving is a half day there. And then the
Okay.
last day of school is a half day and end of term.
So we don't have like Friday half days or anything like that. I like that actually.
But and our teachers get 2 prep periods a day. So
And when are the teachers' meetings?
during
Is it
the
a weekly meeting?
yeah, so we have a morning circle every morning to just kind of touch in and touch base. We'll
Yeah.
have to do other meetings kind of sporadically during their prep periods. And then we have collaborative lunch times. So we might have to do faculty meetings by humanities and math and science and elective teachers because of that schedule.
Well,
It's
so
not
this is
ideal, but
really a
it'll.
time where we all get together and at least study before we break out into other meetings.
Every morning.
Oh, in the morning, like, isn't that just a sort of a meeting that like 10 minutes to say a
Mhm.
verse and then go to
And
prepare?
critical announcements for today and
Oh,
But
Yeah,
there's
that's
not, Carol, there's not like
not
a
a meeting.
weekly professional
Yeah.
planning time. You know, like we used to have
Mhm.
we don't have any weekly professional planning time, like I mean together all together.
Not all together, just because of the way that the schedule fell. And I think for professional development type things, meeting them in their focused groups. So we have all of the
Okay.
history and science teachers together and all of the
Okay.
math. And so we can do it by those groups. And then we have professional development days planned throughout
Green
the school
days?
year where we,
Okay.
no, the green is the start of a term, but we
Okay.
do have days where the teachers are collaborating before a term starts.
Okay, I like that.
And for the,
Carol, is the training from August 3rd to August 14th? I mean, do
Oh,
you,
so yeah, you can have some good training in those weeks, huh,
Yeah.
for the beginning
So
of the
it's
year.
classroom preparation, all of the documents that we have to get signed, all of the training that we have to do. That schedule, we're looking at a picture of the grades for our teachers. And then a picture of this is what the high school then looks like for 2 hours every day. So that they get a feel for this is what Waldorf education is, as well as some administrative work, and then 3 hours in the afternoon for teachers to work in
Okay.
their classrooms and get preparation done.
Okay.
and has Rainbow Rosenblum been hired for that week, for those
No.
weeks? Oh, did he come already?
He's not being hired. He just
Oh.
volunteered to come,
Oh,
and he hasn't reached out yet.
and
so-
he's never taught high school, I don't think.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a question to ask people before they come in.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you recommend, Thesa, to
I
come?
recommended Tom Schaefer for one.
Oh,
That's
yes.
about the calendar, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So, and a comment too. One, Carol, you got this starting after August 15th and you're ending by Memorial Day. Bravo. My only concern is that if people are traveling for Thanksgiving, that is tight, like painfully tight. I was never the one to do that, but I know a lot of families are, and I'm wondering if it's possible to move one of the days off from October over there, if that would be an issue for any parents.
Well, you don't want just a Monday. You'd have to do 2 days then. I mean, you don't want to come to school just for Monday and then have
schools,
Tuesday.
like I don't know any schools that take Wednesday off, maybe a couple. The pretty standard calendar is to have a half day on Wednesday.
It's just 3 days in most of the high schools. Is that what you're saying, Carol? It's different from elementary school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and between the districts and a lot of schools that I see, we compared calendars, and half day on Wednesday is pretty standard. But if the board wants a full day, we can adjust it and figure that out.
I don't have a strong preference. Personally, with my family schedule, I like it the way it is, but I am concerned that that's going to bother a lot of parents that might have to travel for the Thanksgiving holiday. And we can always approve it as is and then just have a poll next year if there's a riot on that Tuesday or there's like 6 kids in the school. We know.
Right.
Okay. I think that's a good. I think I personally like just the 3 days, the half day and the 2 days. I think that's fine.
And our fall break is just a long weekend after parent teacher conferences. So that might affect our attendance on parent teacher conferences here, but
And then what we usually do in the elementary school is have a Thanksgiving assembly as a school function before, and then, it's over and they go home.
we
like
could
that.
also do a festival or celebration on that day as a special.
Yeah.
And I think Carrie has a comment.
You're
So
on
that-
mute, Carrie, still.
So that if people don't really miss a lot of schoolwork if they can't be there that day.
Sorry, the phone makes it hard to unmute. You have to
Oh.
tap it and get to the right thing. It's really annoying. Okay, I'm just worried about the fall break. So did you do it that late so it could be right after parent teacher conferences?
Yes, so it was a combination of trying to match schedules as close as we could to the other district calendars, getting enough days in term one, because we're starting later in October, trying to balance those as well. The only other place to move it is before parent teacher conferences, and then that's kind of a weird.
You have to come back
It's
for
already
parent
the
teacher
short
conference.
term,
Yeah.
right? They're already pretty short terms in the fall semester anyway. So
I'm just looking at it compared to Alpine's
mhm.
right now, and so it starts right after Alpine's fall break ends,
Mhm.
which makes it very, very tricky for families.
Alpine actually starts a couple of days before that as well. I think they start.
So theirs is half day on the 14th
Yeah.
through that Monday, the 19th. So it's just so, I was just curious about that just because I'm even thinking like for my family personally, that means that half of us have school off and then half of them don't, and it's just
Yeah.
tricky, but you can't match every schedule.
Well,
Do
and
the other districts have fall?
I think Provo and Nebo were later.
Is that one?
Yeah.
I didn't notice. I didn't have time to compare all the schedules.
I
And was
I
that
don't remember all
on
the details,
Alpine,
but
was that the high school level that had the,
Alpine, the whole district.
Yeah,
is the same.
usually high school and junior high and elementary, they're all the same in the districts.
okay. All
I
right.
wanted to double
I
check.
think every district had a different fall break, which was
Is that what it was?
I think
Because
so.
like if it lines up with at least one of them, but if it's different than all of them, I would
I don't think
say
we're different from all of them. We lined it up with something,
okay.
and that's also why
Trying to go
we did
back
2
to
days.
you did what?
That's also why we did 2 days instead of, some of them do a whole week.
Mhm.
Like it's a whole 4 days, and we just didn't have time to do that because we really need all the time that we can with our teachers in August. I will also note the 17th is actually a teacher day that needs to move. The students come on the 18th so that we have time to prepare for orientation that week. The students won't be given their schedules until the 21st, just so that we can make sure that the cohorts are balanced by the time we give them their schedules based on who shows up. But they'll be meeting all of the teachers, they'll be building the culture, they'll be learning about Michaelmas and why the dragons and what that means to us. They'll be learning some basic art skills if they're coming from a school that they didn't do art. So we'll be doing lots of community building and team building, and everybody will have a technology workshop if this is what to expect in technology, because some of our students won't have technology as a tool for life until the fourth quarter. And so they get a kind of picture of this is what to expect from technology at this school. And then they'll start formal classes on the 24th. So that also shortens that first term.
Yeah, hardly any time before the parent teacher conferences to get for the teachers. Yeah.
So there were a lot of things that we balanced in doing that. And I mean, while parent teacher conferences are typically Thursday, Friday, I suppose we could move it to Monday, Tuesday, but if that's on top of fall break, then nobody's gonna come that time either. So I don't know. It was a tricky thing, and we thought, it's part of the mess of a first year opening, and we should be able to be more aligned moving forward. And we'll just expect a lot of absences in that time.
It looks like Provo's district is the same as Alpine District's fall break.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing Nebel's. I don't know. I think it will be fine, but I think that if it's possible to line, because it seems like we're going to have the most students from Alpine District and Provo District. Nebel's pretty far south, isn't it?
True. Mhm.
So
I mean, it's everything south of Provo. It's not.
I think you're gonna have I think parents are gonna be a lot happier to have those fall breaks lined up
Mhm.
versus, I know that it causes a lot of other issues, but as a parent, that's my opinion, that's gonna matter to families, that their fall breaks aren't lined up.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if we can do parent teacher conferences on like a Monday and Tuesday and then line those up.
That really, the teachers will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks with their students if we move parent teacher conferences up and have fall break aligned with the other district.
And are you wanting to have
They can
fall
also
break
be
right after parent teacher conference?
They have been also before Thanksgiving, the 23rd and 24th are also sometimes parent conferences. Gives teachers more of a time to understand the children. But
We could do that. We could look at that.
That might be a good idea. It might be worth considering some sacrifices to line up that fall break.
Well, I'm also wondering if you were to bump up the parent teacher conferences, yes, it's true. But I also feel like if there is a problem popping up with a student, and it gives the teacher the ability to get that nipped in the bud really early. And I'm also wondering with our demographics, are these kids going to need to babysit younger children over fall break? Is this a childcare issue for any of these families?
Possible.
Mhm.
Also,
Well, so currently we have it lined up at the end of the term. There's nothing that says parent-teacher conferences have to line up at the end of the term.
I like I hate that I don't get to meet my kids' teachers until like, you know, like you meet them like very like briefly or whatever. Like I always wish that we can do parent teacher conference earlier.
Okay.
Well, isn't there an assembly where the whole school meets the teachers, the parents come in the evening and,
The back to school night.
yeah, back
Yeah.
to school night.
But
But
that's
Um,
not the same.
that's different, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you meet the teachers, but they haven't really gotten to know your child yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had an issue with one of my kids' teachers, and I kind of went in there. I'm like, okay, I can tell there's a problem, but it's this weird sub thing, and I can't find it. And she just sat down with me and said, hey, let's go through everything. And we like, oh, well, she's spending 30 seconds on this problem. I'm like, well, that's probably doing it. But I needed to be able to sit down with her, and if I could nip that in the bud earlier, that's a huge
Yeah.
benefit and a win for me, the student, and the teacher.
Yes, in that way, that's better to meet a little earlier then, Carol. You're right. If you could just get a sense for the child quickly and then you could resolve some early issues, I think that might be.
Yeah.
I also, sorry to interrupt. I just
Oh.
looked at Nebo School District and they actually have the same fall break
Okay.
as Provo and Alpine, so they're all lined up.
Okay. We can move it to align it. I think it's just a matter of like changing the days from here to there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
As far as parent-teacher conferences, there's nothing that says we have to do them in the way that they've always been traditionally done. They are often kind of towards the end of the term so that parents can get an accurate grade card. But if we are, and whatever the progress report looks like and whatnot, but if we want to change that and be more and less about your students' actual progress and more about the general disposition of how the child is doing in the class. And obviously this is how their coursework is going up to this point, but and then that gives plenty of flexibility for adjustments before the end of the term.
Yeah, would it be more helpful to like, I would want to know like a few weeks before the term ends, like, hey, your child is doing really terrible in this class. And then I can be like, what is going on? Like,
So-
and give them time to like pull it together before the end of the semester.
Mhm.
Especially at the high school level.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so then I'm hearing that we move parent-teacher conferences. What about the 1st and 2nd of October? And then fall break, we really can only give 2 days otherwise we then have to start coming back after Memorial Day.
Or we can shorten, or can we shorten, well, it doesn't make sense to go to school one day
in spring break.
for spring break. Yeah, I'm like, we
Right.
could shorten spring break.
Right. And you know, I mean, we're already coming back on the 4th and the 1st is a Friday. So like I don't see, I mean, maybe we come the 21st and 22nd in December and that still gives 2 days before Christmas, but I know people kind of like the whole 2 weeks. And that runs into holiday plans. I think the other districts have the full 2 weeks.
It looks like, I'm like trying to compare, it looks like it's really blurry. Nebo doesn't get off until the 21st. Oh, that's not the right year. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I'd personally rather have the shorter fall break because that one kind of sneaks up on you and you're not burnt out yet. Spring
Mhm.
break is so desperately needed.
So you said that the 14th through the 20th is fall break for those schools? I think we lost Carrie.
I think Nebo was the 15th and 16th only. I didn't see that they had a whole week off. They would just have a long weekend. They had 15th and 16th, if I remember right. I looked up Nebo. I didn't look up Alpine and Provo.
Alpine. 26, 27.
So, Carol, we're talking about
16th.
parent-teacher conferences, and that's lovely. As a teacher, and also Susan and Marta, how does that going to mess with your your, don't you have a training day after that? No, it's parent-teacher conferences. Never mind. I don't know what I'm thinking. Ignore
Carol
that.
adjusted so we could do it in the morning, so we didn't have to do evenings and everything. That would
I
be
just
great.
wanted to make sure it wasn't going to impact your professional development to do that, because
No.
it's next to it in March, but not there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. So we can move parent-teacher conferences to the 1st and 2nd, and move the fall break to the 15th and 16th, but that still gives a week after fall break of the term, which might be nice that you come back after break and okay, it's time to get all of your stuff in.
On the
That would-
1st and 2nd, is that when, I mean, why would you have them on the parent-teacher conferences on the 8th and 9th and then have the week of the 12th through the 14th?
We can't take a whole week. We can only take 2 days. So we could do parent-teacher
Oh.
conferences on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then fall break 15th and 16th.
That's
Oh,
not
that's
the
interesting. That's
worst.
interesting. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Because then if you really need it, you don't have to show up. But like I recommend you show up, but like you don't have to show up.
I mean, that
Plus-
gives the students 3 days, but it's
And
still a contract day and the students are counted.
when is the alignment conference?
Alliance is in January.
Alliance?
It's nowhere near.
Oh, it's not in October?
No.
Okay.
No, January.
Oh, it's in February. Yeah,
January.
January. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I just when I looked up Nebo's, their break was the 15th, 16th. Isn't that what Carrie wanted to align with Nebo and Provo and
Yeah.
Alpine?
So then the discussion is, where do we put parent-teacher conferences? So moving this here would put the first day of the term on the 28th. We can either keep parent-teacher conferences here, and so you have 2 days of fall break, 3 days before parent-teacher conferences, and then another long weekend. Or we could move
No, I don't like that.
conferences to Tuesday, Wednesday.
I think
before
parent-teacher
fall break.
conferences Tuesday and Wednesday sounds good.
I agree, because if a family
Yeah.
needs to go on vacation, they can, and if a kid needs
Yeah.
to be making up homework for a week, they can.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me take note of those changes. Does the board want to approve the calendar with those changes?
Yes.
But we lost Carrie, and I think we're about to lose Christian because he's got to call his
I'm
daughter.
here.
Christian, are you ready
Yes,
to
I
vote?
propose that
Oh,
we
Carrie
vote
came
on that
back.
before we lose our quorum.
I can.
Or you gotta tell me. Sorry, go ahead, Christian.
Sorry. Can I vote yes? Because I need to go, because I miss my daughter and I haven't talked to her for a few days and she's about to go to bed.
Okay.
And then you can call back when you're done with that?
I can call back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start.
I vote yes.
Art.
So Christian votes yes on. But
The
it's
calendar with those adjustments.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my phone
So
died. So tell me what the adjustments were made. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was that low on battery.
Parent-teacher conference will move to Tuesday, Wednesday, the 13th and 14th.
Okay.
And then fall break the 15th and 16th.
That sounds perfect. I love it that the teachers get to have a break after parent-teacher conference.
And then term 2 starts the 26th.
Okay, say those dates for me one more time, Carol. Parent teacher
Parent-
is on.
The 13th and 14th. Fall break is the 15th and 16th. And then term 2 starts on the 26th.
So we might have to recognize that we might not have some students on Monday the 19th because all the schools are off.
yeah.
And we'll just recognize that and take data.
Do all the other schools take a week for spring break? Because I feel like they have usually a shorter spring break. Would
They
it?
all have a full week.
Okay.
The Monday of the full week is like a teacher compensation day so that they can get the full weekend.
Okay.
We have our compensation days built in too. And the 19th for Alpine is teacher work day. So the students are off on the 19th, but teachers are all working.
Okay.
So people shouldn't, I mean, I don't know, unless if they're tied to a school, they're not going anywhere, but.
But most aren't. But it'll be fine. It's one day.
Mhm.
If there's nowhere else that we can pull it from, then we just deal with it.
I think we lost Susan for a second.
Just as a
Well-
point of order, Carol, too, I did call for the vote, but it was not seconded before Christian had to leave. But at some point, we do need a second if we are going to vote on it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I tried to compare, but I'm failing at this. Do all the other schools have that entire week before Christmas off?
I just looked at it.
Because I wonder if it might be worth, I don't know.
Yes, they
Okay.
all do.
Okay.
That's pretty standard in Utah.
That is like, feels like a ton because Christmas is on a Friday. So I'm like, that is like a lot of days before Christmas. Like they're only going to school till the 18th.
I mean,
That's
it's
kinda crazy.
really long when it's on the 26th, but we are coming back right after New Year's.
Yeah.
I actually love the short Thanksgiving because then I can cook in peace without my kids bouncing off the wall.
So have we fixed
Are we made-
everything? Have we decided on changing the parent days in October?
Yes.
Okay.
So I called for a vote on this. We're still waiting for a second, and we don't technically have a quorum right now because Susan is not present.
So we're just waiting for her to come back.
Yes.
It's changing before our eyes.
It's magical.
Mhm. I think that purple also needs to.
I will say your calendar is much prettier than the other calendars, Carol. You did a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you.
It's not as dry.
Thank you.
Are we giving all of our students Chromebooks for personal use, or are they going to be in classroom use only?
Classroom use only. We are not one-to-one technology.
How are we going to do at-home instructional days?
They can check it out. I guess I will figure it out.
Okay.
I feel
as
like
an ad
most
needed?
households have a computer.
Most will have access to a computer. And if not, then we would already be working with them for access to a computer.
That might be a questionnaire that we can ask after the fact. Like, if there's a snow day, would you like this checked out to your child?
Mm-hmm.
What about
Snow days if there's a snow day?
Snow days that's a little too late for that.
very rare?
Yes, but yeah.
What about phones? Do they check their phones in? Is that a whole other issue?
That's not the calendar.
Right.
We should discuss that at some point. Can we put that on our?
That is our technology policy.
Yeah.
Hasn't the board already approved the technology policy?
I can't remember. Can someone remind me what the policy is for phones?
I mean, the phones here in
During
Delta
school day.
County they're banned. They banned them actually, the
That's so
public school.
incredible, Lisa.
Yeah.
I'm so
I think Utah's moving in that direction as well. They're not allowed during the school day.
And they found that children spoke to each other more and had more fun and laughed more, and there
Okay.
was a social life.
Are there any other adjustments to the calendar before you approve it?
What's that? What does green mean?
That's
You're-
the first day of the term. This is the end of term
Okay.
1 and the start of term 2.
I just can't see the key
Yeah.
on your screen, so I was like, want to make sure. Okay.
And what's the red line around the 23rd?
That's the end of term 1 and the
Oh,
start
okay,
of term
and
2.
the beginning, okay.
So here's the end of term 3 of term 2 and the beginning of term 3.
But it doesn't mean that the school is just going as usual.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It just means that it's a new grading period.
Yeah.
These red boxes are when their quarter-long classes will switch.
Oh,
So if they're in that class for a quarter, then they switch. So it'll be science and then history.
mm.
And then they'll flip that every quarter.
Can I ask a question just out of curiosity? Why
Mhm.
don't you guys do parent-teacher conferences after the half day?
What do you mean after the half day?
It's just what I've seen done locally is that sometimes they will have the half day end and then parent-teacher conferences are from 1 to 7.
They are.
Oh,
Yeah, parent-teacher conferences is both days.
oh, never mind then. Okay.
This is a half day for the students and the parent and the teachers stay until the evening. But then this day is no students and we can have meetings all day long and the teachers don't have to stay past contract time 2 days in a row.
Oh, fabulous. Okay.
But in this way, they have to come back to school the next day. So
Mhm.
they've had parents all day, meetings all day, sometimes late into the night, like at 8 o'clock or 9, and then they have to come to school the next day. That's the disadvantage of this, but it's but it's better for parents, I guess.
Well, the teachers aren't coming back. So
Oh, is that the holiday? That's the break.
That's the
Oh, yes,
holiday.
thank you. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
Tuesday, the
Yeah.
students leave at the half day, and that's about 1 o'clock, I think, because we start at 9. And then the teachers are there until 7 p.m. taking meetings. So half day, right? From lunch to dinner. And then during this day, it's normal contract time, parent teacher conferences from 8 to 3:30. And then everybody goes home, is off for 2 days. And then we have one final week before the end of the term.
Yes, that's lovely. And then you can start grading as well as having discussed the child with their parents. Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to Susan, but we can't move on without her.
Is it appropriate for us to have discussion about the draft of the public comments policy or the school fees policy and then Susan can answer questions or oh, she's back. Yay. Probably
You're
not,
muted,
but
Susan.
Emergencies with my grandchildren tonight.
Sorry about that.
This meeting's just very difficult for me when I'm babysitting them. All right. So are we doing a vote now on the
Yes.
calendar?
It's been proposed, but not
Okay.
seconded.
Could someone second the vote on the calendar? The 2026-2027 calendar proposal. Could someone second that vote?
I can second it.
Great.
This is
And then let's have a vote for the whole quorum. If we could have hands up or the icon. Let's see.
I raise my hand.
All right.
There's
So
someone
we
raising
have
their hand.
Marta, am I seeing you yet?
Yes.
Yes, I see Marta. Okay. Christian, Carrie, sweetheart, you need to go to bed. And Thesa. Okay, so we have a unanimous vote of the core of our members to approve the calendar with the adjustments that are going to be made for the month of October.
Yay, Carol.
Yay, Carol. Okay. And the next thing, we have a draft of our public comments policy, our discipline policy, and our school fees policy. We've sent those out in email for the board members to read, and we want to have a discussion here on anything someone has noticed about those policy statements and printed pages. So yeah, let's just go over a little bit about public comments in our board meeting policy. We want to allow stakeholders to come and have public comments. We want them to be kept under a 2-minute per speaker time period. Carol, are we going to add in a total of 10 minutes? Were we going to put that in somewhere here too?
If you would like to.
I
Up to
think
10
that's
minutes.
all we can really, yeah.
I think that would really protect us.
Yeah, because we
Because
can't
if
have
not,
it
we can
take
have
an hour and a
100.
half of public comments. That would just be too much.
Mhm.
Yeah, because if there's a real issue, it can be a private discussion.
Hmm.
I don't know that it can be a private discussion, but you can do a meeting to hear feedback where the board just invites the public to come and comment, where they listen to the comments.
Oh, I
And-
see. Yeah.
Many, yes.
And as long as you don't have a quorum, then it's just, so I think I've seen it before where like 2 or 3 of the board members will be present to report back to the board on what the comments are. And so it provides space for the community to come and give their comments, and it can be an hour discussion, and then they report that back to the board.
And
Yeah.
they have to submit something
Mhm.
beforehand?
Yes, they have
Good.
to notify us. They can call us. So there's some, they can either,
There's a request to make a public comment down here. It must be submitted to the board.
Yes.
They have to have their full name, the nature of the topic, and then if they don't want to come in themselves, I think it's important to allow this. So we decided to allow a written comment limited to 375 words or less. That's about a 2-minute presentation. So they can have that, and then the board president will read those comments out loud if they want to present them just as an option to just write them in the public as a public comment.
so they can either go to the website and fill out a form that we're putting on the website. They can call the front office and say, I would like to give a comment. We take the same information. Or they can email board@azurefields.org, and then the board is notified that they want public comment. And can be put on the agenda.
Oh, and here are guidelines for the public comments also. Just to keep in mind that the board cannot take action on any meeting if the action is not posted publicly on the agenda. So we would have to take action on the comments, in a later meeting if we were going to. And then also, due to privacy laws, confidential information may not be openly discussed. Public comments regarding the character, health, or professional competence of specific individuals is generally prohibited. I mean, there are exceptions if they're positive, maybe comments, or if there is some, I don't know, but generally it's prohibited. And
Can I
of
also
course,
clarify? Can I
yeah.
also clarify? Confidential information may not be openly discussed. And I would say that if somebody makes a comment, that the board doesn't discuss it, right?
Yes.
Like it's generally prohibited, and they say, thank you, we are not allowed to discuss this matter. We appreciate your feedback, right?
Yes. And also revealing any kind of private student information. We don't. That's just not something we can have. And then keep in mind the scope of the duties performed by the board. Comments regarding operational management should be submitted to the executive director and only be brought to the board if appeals to the executive director are ignored or unable to be resolved. So most operational management issues should go to the executive director first. And the commenters should be respectful, use professional language.
Who's going to remove them?
As if it's on Zoom, as the host, I can send anybody out at any time.
Oh, yes, if our meetings are on Zoom, you could do that, huh? You could remove.
And if they're in person, I can remove people.
I
Well,
believe
we
you.
we should have an option maybe of people that we could call if we needed to remove people. I mean, I don't know how we could do that, but we should try to do something.
Hopefully we won't have to.
When we're fully operational, we will probably have a school resource officer.
Mm.
And then closed sessions is this is just to remind people. I want to put all of this on the the website that has to do with. Can you go up a little bit on this, Carol?
The parent handbook?
Well, in the parent handbook and also there should be on the website a page for the board, and I'd like all of these things there. Did we ever put let's see. I'd like a place on the website also. This isn't to do with this, but well, never mind. Maybe we should discuss that later. I'd like a place where we publicize when the board meetings are on our website as well.
It is. It already is.
Okay. All right.
It's already on the board page.
Good. Because, it isn't on other schools.
We have to I guess we don't have to post the schedule. The minimum requirement is that we post it
with the state boards page. But
so
I'd like it on our website as well.
I have it listed somewhere. I thought it was on this document. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is through here, but here. The yearly schedule of board meetings will be posted on the website within a week after August board meeting, where the board will set the schedule for the meetings of the year. The date of the August board meeting is set in the preceding June board meeting and posted to the website within a week after the June meeting.
Perfect. I hope there was a line. I thought I remembered something like that.
Yeah. So just for the board to remember, in June, you must set the August meeting. In August, the board needs to check their schedules and decide these are the dates, whether it's a consistent, we're going to keep the third Tuesday of the month, or if it's going to be different every month. But those are the dates for the board to decide that. And then our yearly schedule will be posted on the website.
Okay. I think this is great. Carol and I put this together the best we could for the rules and everything that we saw that worked with other boards. So, does anyone else have a comment about it or anything they might want to say?
And Sarah both have their hands up. I don't know if it's these comments or others.
I had a quick question. I know that we'll be setting board meetings a year in advance, which is really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't anticipate any problems. But for tonight, when we're struggling to have a whole quorum, if we have something crazy happen and we have to reschedule a meeting, what happens?
So if we don't have a quorum, then we just post you can call it as many additional meetings as you need to. And I think our bylaws say that both a board member and a voting member can call for a meeting. We'll have to revisit what those parameters are. And so they send notice to the board. We would like to call a meeting on this date. Can we get a quorum there? You schedule it, and at least 24 hours before that meeting, you post to the public, we're calling a special meeting. You call it a special meeting. The only time it's an emergency meeting is if we have some sort of natural disaster and the school building has massive, or there was a fire in the school building, there's massive damage, and the board needs to decide what we're going to do for school tomorrow, right? So then you don't have 24 hours to call a meeting. You're going to do that in 2 hours, and the board is going to convene, and you're going to post it and do the best you can, and you call it an emergency meeting if it's 23 hours or less of notice for that event. Anything 24 hours and more is just a special meeting.
Okay.
So it's
an additional meeting or whatever.
Just wanted to make sure we had a plan for those things. Okay, my other question was, and I don't anticipate this, especially with Carol as our director, but I want to make sure, like, we've all seen what can happen when you don't have a great director, you know? And so, like, how do we,
So what a grievance policy is a instruction sheet for if your issue is not being met, these are a list of steps you can take.
Could we put that also on this list here, Carol? Or do you not?
The grievance policy is somewhere else. It will also be here where this lives, easy to see, but it's not a part of this document. But what a grievance policy is says that if you're having an issue with your classroom teacher and it's not resolved, this is the supervisor you talk to first. This is if that supervisor doesn't resolve it, you go to the next supervisor. And then it goes to the executive director, right? And if the executive director is not hearing your complaint, then this is the process for contacting the board. And so that policy delineates all of those details of how to take care of that situation.
Is that in the handbook that
We
we,
would put it in the handbook. So that is another policy that needs to be written.
just like, I'm wondering on this where it says you may request, and then could you put just a note that see the grievance policy, and, could you just put a little box in there that,
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
yeah.
On this sheet so that it's like very obvious to people. But it just seems like any complaints about the director are just like a whole different issue, because it can't follow the normal line.
Exactly. That's what the grievance policy spells out. If you have an issue with this person, if you have an issue with that person, these are the supervisors that you would go to. And
So
for
here-
me, you guys are my only supervisor. So
So
if there is
Carol,
a problem with me,
if you move down in here, this part about character, professionalism, or other things, could you put in like see grievance policy in the handbook or something? See the confidential information, public comment regarding the character, health, or professional competence. Let's see.
Maybe we could link it.
Yeah.
So are you saying
there's about the executive director here.
There will be a separate grievance policy when you have a grievance against the director?
I like that. See our grievance
spelled
policy for
out.
more information. Okay.
the grievance policy includes every possible category of employment.
Okay.
So yes, so there would be, so this is the general instructions for a grievance of whatever level. And then this is what you do if it's an office staff. This is what you do if it's a custodian. This is what you do if it's a teacher. This is what you do if it's the executive director. If this is what you do if it's the dean of students, or the other administration. Does that make sense?
This is perfect. See our grievance policy for more information. I like that.
And we can link that also.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you, Carol.
Sarah, did you still have a?
Yes, I do. So my question is, would it be better to have comments regarding the operational management to comments regarding the current operational management? And the reason I'm thinking of this is if it's a parent, I have a question that says, I really like the way former management did it, but the new management is teaching the kids to kick puppies. And I do not like the transition, and I don't think it's Waldorf appropriate to teach kids that. I do not want to put previous teachers or management under the bus, but I also think that as a board, we need to hear those comments of, hey, we're seeing a shift in the movement of the board. My other request is that on the commenters who are vulgar, obscene, disrespectful, aggressive, or violent will be removed. I would like to see will turn into a may. Not because I don't want to remove them, but if they are discussing something that happens in the school, there's a blurry line on obscene, especially when it comes to health. And I'd like to see the ability for the board to choose whether or not that's appropriate for them to listen to.
Sarah, you are so good at this.
Oh, thank
I
you.
know. Well, she's had some experience too. Like some of us have.
And
Yeah.
finding the right language is super important, which is why this is an open discussion. So, and not approved yet. Were
Thank you
there
for
other
helping
thoughts
us
on
find the right
this,
language.
on this section here that she brought up?
Oh yeah.
Because I don't want to throw previous teachers under the bus.
Plant bombs too.
Will we have a grievance policy for board
She didn't.
members?
Still,
Oh, sorry. Was
she might call other people mom and
Marta,
dad.
you're not muted.
We're still her. She's still our.
Okay.
will there be a grievance policy for board members?
Probably.
Because
And
I think
the
that would be
bylaws,
wise.
well, the bylaws also give the board power. You guys have the power. If you're having trouble with a board member, you can vote them off the board and replace them.
That's good. I just sometimes the whole board goes off the rails.
Mhm.
We can see sometimes. So
Those are called
But
rogue.
so that's where our bylaws protect us,
okay.
because we have certain parameters that help ensure that the board is aligned with our mission and vision, right? We
Right.
staggered the turnover so that we're not losing half the board at one point, hopefully, if people can commit to those terms. We also have requirements for certain percentages of the board to have certain amounts of Waldorf training so that they can understand, and they have to be continuously engaged in that conversation of what is Waldorf education and what is our mission and vision. So that's written into the bylaws to protect the group of the board, to make sure that it's aligned with the vision, and to prevent that drift and shift. We also have no more than 50% of you can turn over at the moment we open our doors. So you guys have to stay on at least the first year to make sure that the founding vision is carried into implementation.
Excellent. Thank you. You know, we've learned so much from the mistakes of others, aren't we? So grateful.
We're gonna say that kindly and with lots of love to them. They can
We're
also
just-
learn from their mistakes.
We're just so grateful for that.
Without naming names. Okay.
And
So
yeah.
Sarah brought up the rewording of this section here. Is there, I don't know what your specific proposed language was. I think I missed that.
I suggested changing it to current operational management. Does that include what I'm trying to say correctly, accurately enough? Because if we don't allow them to discuss anyone besides operational management, then it's really hard to discuss changes in operational management.
Right. Comments regarding operational management should be submitted to the executive director and brought to the board if appeals to the executive director are ignored or unable to be resolved. I don't know how current operational management changes that.
So my thought is if it's a current teacher, whoever it is that there's an issue with, the current board of director, that needs to be brought to the and go through that policy. But if they bring up someone that was there 20 years ago, and like Carol, you should be brought up in 30 years from now because you had the vision for the school.
Yeah.
Like that's a good thing. If someone's bringing up Carol in 30 years, yay. But I think we should like this is my way of kind of putting that in there like okay, you can't talk about the people that are there currently, but you can talk about people that have come and gone and how things have changed.
Oh, I see what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know.
Okay, okay. I think there's a better way to delineate that.
I think that Carol should just stay for 30 years and then we won't have any problems.
No way, no reason to talk about any problems.
It's a historical thing, you know. You can add it into the history of the school if something changes
then
and why.
I like current in there, but I also,
I think we need to add another thing
Yeah.
is where I'm kind of going with this. Do we want in this section, privacy laws, confidential information, public comment regarding the character, health, or professional competence? Do we want to put
tributes and
specific
other positive.
individuals currently employed?
I would do that. Or work. Is there anything else, like people that are
Or
volunteering?
connected to the school
That would be lovely.
and its operation? Oops. Public comment regarding the character, health, or professional competence of specific individuals currently employed or connected to the school and its operation is generally prohibited. So that would allow comments to come in from, if they're no longer currently employed, you can make a comment about them.
I love that, Sarah.
Yay!
Hey, you're making my heart happy. That's what it's.
We found a way to resolve all the things.
Thank you.
Well, then I would vote that we move to approve the new public comments unless someone else wants to change something.
Okay, do we have someone who could second that vote to approve our new public comments policies and on the board? Could someone second that for me?
Lisa?
Lisa waved her hand, but she's
Okay.
muted.
Oh,
All right, Lisa.
I'll second it.
So
yeah.
much.
Okay.
Lisa has seconded that motion. Let's have a vote by the whole board with hands up or icons. So I see
I vote yes.
Christian
Sarah,
votes yes.
Christian votes yes. I see Carrie, Thesa, and Marta. Yeah, yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. We have a unanimous vote on that motion to approve the policies as written.
That was just that policy. Do you
I
guys
know,
want
that
to
was just
discuss the
that.
discipline policy really quick?
Well, we have draft fees scheduled next.
We have.
Oh no, that's all in the same group, isn't it? Okay, the discipline policy.
See if I can share the right thing.
We have a discussion about that for a moment.
I'm gonna do this one. Okay, are you guys seeing this screen right here?
Yes.
Okay, that should make my life easier.
It's very small.
I'll make it bigger.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
So a little bit of on the discipline policy. Actually, Tanya and I spent 4 days making sure that this embraced our mission and vision and our holistic view of children and embedding our capacity for goodness, beauty, and truth. So hopefully you've had a chance to see it and read it. I guess I can give you a moment to go through if you would like.
It looks very beautifully written so far.
It is. Yeah.
Gently written.
Like I said, we actually grappled with the language for about 4 days to make sure that we felt like this was and we felt so passionate about making sure that it was said correctly because this is Marta says it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This really does share how we interact with our students every day. So this matrix I know is kind of small. It is mostly for reference on
For a quick reference.
Quick reference where to go.
Yeah.
Certain issues. Yeah.
And then we have the steps of the teacher will work with families in this way, supported by our dean of students and support staff. If that's not working, then it goes to the teacher, the parent or guardian, and an admin. Not necessarily myself, but dean of students or other admin. When they're not resolved at that level, or it's a very severe thing, then we have we have a specific meeting. So when things escalate and are not resolved at this level, we can move to this. Or if it's very severe, then we set up that conference. We are looking at, we have rules that it has to happen within 5 school days of the infraction unless the parent or guardian requests that it's farther out. We have deadlines that it has to be scheduled and happen. The supports and consequences include behavior contract with options for the student to repair the harm, and in-school suspension if that's what we need, and a reintegration plan for them to come back safely to our community. Further violations or the most severe things will come directly to me. And it's me and the parent, the executive director and the parent or guardian. Law enforcement may become involved at this level depending on the type of infraction. If it's a single severe thing, law enforcement will probably be there. If it's simply an escalation, then this is a discussion of our things are not working and we have to find another solution. Suspension procedures focus on keeping the students in the school. Both Tanya and I have completed the comprehensive school safety training, the CSTAG, and are trained trainers for school safety teams. And that's what some of this language is speaking about. Ways for us to assess threats on a case-by-case basis so that it's not one size fits all. It's not you say the word bomb and you're expelled for 3 days.
Right.
We will be able to have compassion and meet the students where they are based on the situation. So in-school suspensions are our first line, that they might have an alternative learning location and they have certain work that they're required to do. A part of that is for them to reflect on why they're in this situation, what they could have done differently, and how they're going to behave differently when they go back to the community. And then out of school suspensions is like the last straw, but it's only in severe situations for school safety. And we have steps for notification, procedures for how they leave safely and get home, and their reentry process. Sometimes if there's a severe act of violence against a student, the victim may get a victim leave of absence, a safety leave of absence. It's not counted as an excused absence. It's actually a school excused absence. And it can't be longer than 3 school days. We want them back in the school. The longer it takes them to come back, the more they have anxiety about coming back. So we also have a plan to protect potential victims. And then expulsion is the very, very end of the line. We have due process rights for families and how to appeal. They have the right to bring an advisor or attorney to the meetings with me at that level. We have a hearing process, and then emergency safety interventions according to state code. Tanya just finished her threat assessment training today. And so now that we're both trained in that, we'll be building out the description of school threat assessment team. So I will let you guys discuss anything that you want to in the discipline policy.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding right. So that means that these are the policies, but they can be adjusted based on the child and the situation. Because
Right. So the policy dictates that we have to treat each child and their situation individually and appropriately according to our policy. So that's what our policy is describing.
Thank you, Carol. That is wonderful. I'm
That's
not sure if
wonderful.
my children had a place in creating that policy.
No.
And
Many
they
children
have a
did.
space. They have a space to change and learn, you know. And
Can I
that's
just
from
tell
their
you,
mistakes.
this core
Yeah.
principles idea right here, we got through that wording and we both just stopped and went like it brought tears to both of our eyes in just the power of embedding goodness, beauty, and truth at the core of this. Susan,
It's
you.
amazing.
Thank you. I'm so grateful because my kids, they always get in trouble for the most innocent things.
Yeah.
And then the school's like, well, this is the policy, so we have to follow it. And I'm like, that is not even the same thing.
And then,
So
of course, you know,
That's pretty cool.
the parents can also be a problem, Carrie. No, I'm just
Oh
joking.
yes, I'm sure that's me, actually. Oh guys,
Always coming in and standing up for their kids.
Carol knows. No, I've got a funny story for another time.
Okay.
Carol, I thought of one thing I might want to add in is Kim Jong Pain's diamond of discipline or diamond of, I forget the name of it. But I love the idea that you adjust for the severity, the frequency, or the are those words stated anywhere in the
Yeah, that's reflected in this chart. So you can't read this chart. It's pretty small. I don't know how much bigger I can make it.
as long as you tell me it's somewhere in there,
Yeah,
because
just
I really
tell
love
us.
that idea that, because sometimes even if it seems like an innocent small thing, if the frequency is so strong that it's interrupting the class constantly, you have to deal with something even if it's a small issue.
Exactly. So this is how the matrix is set up. We have expected behaviors for language, and so this column is what we want: socially appropriate, respectful language that honors and validates others and their values, beliefs, and person. Physical expectations, respect for others' personal space, walking away from and reporting conflicts. Our actions, acting in a cooperative manner, being respectful of school and classmates, responding appropriately when you're addressed. Interchanges, taking turns talking, contributing appropriately to class discussions and activities, use of property, etc. And we also have honesty and integrity and safety. The first level is reminding and reteaching, and some ideas of when remarks start to get offensive or they're being annoying on purpose, right? The teacher starts with reminding that here we do this is the expectation, redirecting, reteaching. Then we consider it a minor infraction when the student refuses to change at this level. When they're resistant to reteaching, when they're belligerent, when they're whatever it is, we move over into minor. Recognizing that sometimes this jump is because they're deregulated and they need to go to the wellness room rather than a discipline referral. So we have that embedded in there as well. Major infractions are more severe and will go directly to the administrative. So the dean of students, it goes directly there. It can either escalate into that or it's a single severe event. Severe is like our bomb threats and I'm going to kill you with a weapon in your hand. Like those level of things are severe. They come directly to my office with the school resource officer.
So I just looked up the discipline, the decision diamond is what it is. And it's consciousness of what they've done, high, moderate, or low, severity, high, moderate, or low, affecting others, high, moderate, low, and frequency, high, moderate, and low. So I think that gives teachers a lot to talk about in a conference session with the student and parents if that discipline, a decision diamond is part of what they're talking about.
We don't use that language in here, but we do have that embedded in this policy. And then as additional resources and supports for the policy, training our teachers on using that tool is appropriate. So I don't think it needs to be embedded in the policy.
For teachers.
A tool that we use when we're teaching our teachers on how to implement it.
Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Any other
clarify that I totally support discipline and support the teachers. I just think there's a difference between a real gun threat and a kid who is stupid and just says dumb things, you know.
Yes, I know.
And that's what the school safety team is all about, is that they take and it's not a single person's decision, it's not up to the teacher, it's not up to the administrator. there's actually a team that you put together who have, so you have teachers, you have custodians, you have everybody in from a cross section of the school that meets together on incidents. They're not that we have to meet on every single little I'm gonna kill you, right? Like,
Right.
but there's a process for putting that together. And when the teachers are given tools of this is how you sort through the threats in the moment of like which ones can you do the reframing, reteaching, remodeling, reminding. And if you feel like it's still a threat after that, this is the process of turning it in, right? And that's where the in-school suspension policy comes into play while we're trying to figure out, and there's specific timelines to get them back into the classroom as safely and as quickly as possible. So that's how all of those pieces work together. And that's where this school threat assessment team, I wanted to wait for Tanya to finish her training so that we had a common language as we build that. So that piece is coming.
I think it's beautiful, Carol. Thank you. You did a good job to recognize that we have to view people as people and individuals. Thank you.
Sarah has her hand raised. If you have a comment, Sarah.
Sorry, I have to unmute 3 things. I do. So I was talking to a friend of mine just the other day, and she said, how many times is it before they're allowed to do something? And it's not that she wants the other kid to be punished severely, it's that she's worried about the safety of her child. And you have a lot of words in here, and I appreciate that you're talking about like severe and persistent bullying, not just severe bullying, or people with a long history of something. And that kind of brings up a discussion on, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's 6, right? I don't want that listed anywhere because I don't want the kid knowing he's got 3 more times.
Right.
But at the same time, as a mom whose child may be being, made to be uncomfortable in the school, I kind of want to know it's 6. How is that handled?
I would personally say that if you're feeling that uncomfortable about it, it's now.
Okay.
Right? And we have that conversation. Is my feeling about it, like it's so, reminding, reteaching, that is obviously the first thing, but if it's severe enough, we jump the whole thing, and there's.
Carol, do we have an option of having a student not remain in our school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have expulsion procedure.
But that's just.
That means that they cannot enroll again.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they are, they have broken so an expulsion may occur when serious issues are repeated and have not been resolved to the satisfaction of the school. In extreme circumstances, it can be the result of a single act of felony level violence. The school reserves the right to expel any students in accordance with this policy.
And that isn't just an that's just not a day or two. That's like.
You are unenrolled and you are not allowed to.
I'm sorry. I guess I
That's
my mind. I do want an expulsion procedure.
Yeah, and it's right here. It has to be, expulsion must be an act of the governing board. I can't make that decision.
Okay.
And there's a hearing process and an appeals process. And then there's rules like they can't even come back on campus for 2 years for activities. We do have an appeal for that, but there's a lot of really strict, like you've broken this community to this level that you're not allowed back.
Okay. And that's legal for us to do, to expel, have an expulsion? Okay.
My only request on that one would be, do we have something where the board must meet within 2 weeks or?
Yeah, we have timelines, 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. No. Where is it? Yeah,
I
we
trust
have
you.
timelines.
I just want to make sure that it's there. Okay.
A fourth severe level offense. This is after 4 very severe levels. And they have not been able to reintegrate safely into the community. They are assigned out of school suspension for 5 days and the parent is notified. And during this suspension period, the school conducts an investigation to verify it is your 4th offense of this level. The governing board will also have to hold an emergency closed session with the executive director, the parent and guardian to review the investigation's finding and the expulsion decision.
Okay.
Upon the ratified decision of the governing board, the parent or guardian will be asked to retrieve, the parent has to do it, the student can't come and get their stuff. They have to do it, and they have to be escorted by an administrator to retrieve, and then any school-owned items need to be brought back or paid for.
Okay, that sounds good.
I was just curious, do we have to say like a fourth time? Like does there have to
Well,
be
it says,
another
no, down here it says the
Single felony level violence.
Oh, okay.
Right? You bring an active bomb to school, you have an active gun and shoot it, you're gone. Like there's no
I
and
think when I
everybody
was
will
reading
agree.
it, that part was blocked off, so I was like, we're
Yeah.
giving it 4 chances?
Okay, go down a little farther, Carol. You have something else you wrote about that too. A little farther down.
Well, it's right up here. Extreme disciplinary issue. Serious issues are repeated and not resolved. A single active felony level violence or a fourth severe level. And severe level is the bomb threat. It's putting someone in a chokehold, I'm going to kill you. It's that level of you are actually enacting violence on someone and have not been able to resolve it and reintegrate according to our restorative practices.
Isn't assault a felony?
It might be.
Are there
Depending
going
on-
to be... Go ahead, Sarah.
I just was wondering when it would be or when it wouldn't. I don't know if you know the law, but like, how does that?
That's our school police
They-
officer, our resource officer tells us when that has happened.
Okay, because to me,
I'm
a
just-
chokehold seems like a felony, but I'm not sure. But I also know kids are kind of, yeah.
I'm just wondering if there in the future could be a circumstance where it's like there's been 2 things and we are just like,
Oh, look, go down
this kid
farther,
is not
Carol.
safe.
I want to show
Like,
this last up now. Sorry. Up
Do
down.
we have an option to just
Oh,
not put a number so that we aren't like waiting for something bad to happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that is that like
It's already
something to
here.
consider?
So right here. When serious issues are repeated and have not been resolved to the satisfaction of the school. That could be you did it once, we did the reintegration procedure, and you did it again, or you did not reintegrate properly
Okay.
and are still doing that thing, right? So I think this does give us the leeway. It's repeated.
I just
then
wanted to make sure we don't
specifically-
pigeonhole ourselves, like, so
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, well, we have to wait until they do it one more time, when really it's like, this kid is not good for the school.
I can also send this to the lawyer to review.
Okay.
If the board wants me to send it to the lawyer before you approve it, or if you want to go ahead and approve it before and with the acceptance of recommendations from the lawyer, however you want to do that. I think Lisa has her hand up. You're not muted, Lisa.
Let me say real quick, I was just wondering if there might be a way to keep it more open so that, yeah, we just have options on a case by case basis.
Well, and to stating it here, an expulsion when the issues are repeated and have not been resolved, that will instigate this process, right?
It's too extreme, Carrie, to give it in a more leeway, I think, because it specifically says violence, and felony.
And then absolutely on the 4th time, like after the 2nd time of a severe level offense, we're already talking to them about things have to change. And this is our process. And if you don't do this process, then this is your last process,
Why
right?
do we have 4th and not like 3rd? 3rd severe
Seems
level.
like a lot of chances.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That depends on the child, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. For some kids, it's not going to be a lot of chances. And for some kids, it's going to feel like too many chances. So that's why I was wondering if we could just leave it more open.
Right. This means that absolutely on the 4th, this is started.
Oh, I
And
guess
this is only severe. But
Jen,
this language up here says that if we are not satisfied with how they are reintegrating, it can happen sooner.
Okay.
But we are not allowing any more than 4.
Also, I think it's worth pointing out that after the 4th, they still can't expel them. It has to go to the board.
Yeah.
And if that they go through and it's not done, like maybe the teacher just has it out for them and says, no, 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 they're not reintegrating. It still has to go to the board.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking like if for some reason a kid gets expelled and and the parents come and they fight back and they say like you said they had 4 chances, or does this give us enough leeway that we can say like no,
That's protection?
like the
I
kid
think
is
so. I'll
not
check
safe
that
in
with
this-
the lawyer, but I think so.
Okay. Because there's some crazy parents out there that might be like, you said my kid had 4 chances. You can't expel him yet.
I just wanted to suggest that at some point, when I look at these shooters, that come to schools and so on, that I might suggest that if there's a way to say something about somebody who says something on social media about the school or about killing other students, if there's something that the school can catch, is legally allowed to catch something like that. I'm not,
There's pretty specific guidelines about the school's purview during the school day versus there's still a lot of gray area between when they're doing things outside of school.
right.
And that generally falls under law enforcement. So that's where we work with our local law enforcement agencies to make sure that we have a safe environment. And there are things that will happen that they can't tell us about, but that they can help
But
us.
the other students will tell us, you see. That's where it comes in, is through other students.
Yes, and that's where our school threat assessment team meets. So there are guidelines and parameters for how we can deal with things that are happening outside of school, that they come into school when those relationships are broken. But that's part of what the school threat assessment team and our relationship with law enforcement comes in.
Yeah, and then there are little things that if you can just keep them quiet, they're not. If they get too large, then you lose control of them, and it become a storm in a teacup, and it hurts the school. So there's
not blowing things out of proportion and
Yeah.
making sure that
it becomes a gossip thing, and the child is sort of faced with this huge crisis that's, like Carrie said, that it was an innocent thing,
Which is why this first part of the policy, like we have to have the extreme cases, we have to have a plan for that.
Yeah.
But the plan is to live up here in
Yes.
the day and
Yeah.
and if we're doing this, and if they're willing to engage in that restorative practice and learning from their behaviors and learning how to reintegrate with the community,
And the
we hold off a
respect.
lot of that.
The respect toward the students. That's what I love about this policy, is that right off the bat, there's respect for them.
Do we have anything in this policy or another policy if a parent feels like the teacher is disciplining inappropriately? Like, do we have something for that?
Would that be the teacher's handbook?
I think that's the grievance policy, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no, what they're supposed to do is go to the administration first and to go to the director first. That's what it states, is that you go to the teacher themselves, and then if you don't feel like you're satisfied, you go to the director.
So that's just covered under the grievance policy. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the grievance covers any issue that you have with said personnel.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
And our procedure would be for the parent to go to the teacher, then the dean of students, and then to me. Okay, is there a motion to move forward on this?
Yes.
I don't think I can call.
So here's the problem that we had these bundled together, the discipline policy, public comments policy and the school fees. Should we go to the school fees so we can vote on both of those at the same time? Because you had them bundled together.
It seemed like, I don't know if you want to approve it as it stands or if, because it seemed like people wanted to get some clarification on some things. I'm willing to send it to the lawyer and get feedback on how much we're protected.
I think I'm feeling okay. I don't know how others are. So should we do a vote on just this alone first?
What do you think, Sarah?
Sarah, you're the word king.
I'm good with it. I'm just looking at the thing. So we voted to, originally the vote was on policies.
Yes, it was on the draft public comments policy board
The
policy.
motion was specifically for the
public comments.
public comments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it
We,
should be on all three things, I think, but we didn't do it that way.
I think it's okay because we're saying, we told the public that we were doing it on policies and we're just voting on individual policies one by one. I think
Mhm.
that's within the spirit of the law.
Absolutely.
Would it be worth having a lawyer quickly look at this to make sure we are not pigeonholing ourselves in any way? I'm not sure of that answer. I'm asking.
I'm already sending other things for his review, and this will be a quick thing to bundle in, and so it's not a problem to do that. I think that my personal opinion, you don't have to listen to it, you can make your own choice. But I think if the board wanted to approve it as it stands, and then when we hear back from the lawyer, amending it to meet his recommendations. Like, I mean, I think that's a decision that you can make.
That's what I was
amendment.
gonna, I was gonna propose that. So I propose we vote to approve the discipline policy as is. I don't think we made any changes to it.
No.
Unless legal counsel suggests other ways, in which case we will listen to legal counsel.
And amend it.
And amend.
Second that motion.
Okay, and then let's have
Okay.
a vote of the board, hands up or icon. Let's see, so we have,
Let me stop screen
I
sharing. so
see
you can see
Sarah,
everybody.
Sarah and Mark.
Do you have a vote?
Christian, is he still with us here?
Yeah, I think so. Christian, are you still there? Do you have a vote on the discipline policy?
Yes, I was muted and I didn't realize. Yes, I vote yes.
He votes yes, didn't realize that he was muted.
Our vote is unanimous to adopt the discipline policies and look forward if there's any other advice from council, we will amend the policies as needed. Okay, then we have the school fees policy.
I'm not going to go through this one. We have a couple of different versions, and I think, and I'll just explain the difference between the two of them. This one is essentially copied directly from a district website that ensures that all of the legal language is there. It's linked to the code and explains all of the things. And so we have that version that's 15 pages if anybody wants to go through it specifically. Oh, there's some things that I still need to go in and fix. And then there's another more simplified version that kind of puts it into more simple language, and I think it's appropriate to use both. That describes kind of the basics, and that we need to have a fee schedule and a fee waiver application process. And those forms are, everybody uses the same form throughout the state. And so those, you just pull those and apply those. This is the fee schedule. Are there any questions on the fee policy?
I don't have any questions on the policy, but do we have a list of our fees that yet at all that we're?
We do have a fee schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what the fee schedule is. Okay.
Mhm.
But I've noticed that they're all up to, which I think is fair. And I remember when we had our training, when we were doing our pre-approval stuff, most of this is governed by law. We have very little control over it.
Mhm.
That was done 1 or 2 legislation sessions ago.
Yeah.
And they were pretty much saying, by the way, we changed the thing, you now have a million more roles, which I support, but we can't do a lot here unless we want to restrict ourselves.
Right.
A question is, are the school fees paid by the parents?
Yeah.
And they are for
Field trips and
Yeah,
bus
for
passes.
additional,
materials? Are they
it
paid?
can be for class materials. So high school programs tend to be more expensive, right?
Yeah.
In shop class, you're consuming metal that's
Yes.
$100 a plate, right? You know, or wood that's, you
And
know,
those are extra?
and those are extra. So a couple of basic things about the fees. Restrictions that have been put on schools for the fees. The recent legislation has said that all students must have a fee-free path to graduation. So in the courses that we offer, students must be able to get all credits required for graduation without paying a class fee. And that means that we offer an alternative class that maybe doesn't consume the materials, that covers the same information, that doesn't have a fee, that they can still get the same credit. And so there's that piece. We also, so we can't require, so we're requiring technology as a tool class for all of our students. We can't add a computer fee to that class and require all students to pay the computer fee and take the class in order to graduate. So the class, if it's required, must either be free or there has to be an alternative class that is free. So that's one thing. But the state also recognizes that high school programs have courses and extra elective things. All of these fees, if it's listed on this fee schedule and the student qualifies by income, they fill out a fee waiver application and there's specific guidelines for that and a specific form that every school in the United States uses because it's based on the federal free and reduced lunch program. And so if they
who pays for the fees that the children are that have waivers?
the school absorbs the cost.
And that's state law. We
We
cannot
need to
change that.
We'll need to fundraise.
Yes. So we need to fundraise and then it's just a part of our budget that we recognize that. Which is why schools are pretty into making sure that people fill out that free and reduced waiver. So all of these fees, some of these fees are, there's more information in our transportation policy and our fundraising activities policies. We have transportation written. We haven't touched fundraising yet. A fundraiser becomes a fee if it's required to get credit. Like there's just a bunch of weird legal stuff in it. Program fees, so this would be an activity or a field trip, admission to any kind of event if we sell tickets for a festival or something. Our bus passes, we are partnering with there's a group of charter schools that have a special rate with the Utah Transportation Authority. $97 for an unlimited bus pass. That's a premium bus pass. It does everything except for the ski run transportation for 12 months. It starts August 1st and expires July 31st. This is less than 1 month of the premium pass if you go to the UTA website. So this is a super discount. Up to 97, this is the rate that we pay for the passes, and then we can charge a fee up to that point. And so these are all maximum amounts that we are allowed to charge for anything. But each individual program might have a fee that's less than that.
Does the state set these amounts?
We compared several district fee schedules, and used their research that they've already done for these amounts.
It just seems funny that they have that amount because if prices go up on things or something, it seems, but if
So
this is law, the amounts aren't in law.
It's not in law. The amounts are not in law. We revisit it, and so, but these are comparable to what the districts are charging.
And
Okay,
these are per student, right?
This is per student. There's
Wow.
also in the fee policy, there's limits that, so if a student is participating in multiple programs, there is a limit to to the maximum amount that they can pay. And I think it was $7,000 total that other districts are using.
I saw that it was $7,000 per year.
And so if you're participating in a lot of things and your family has already paid, and that's per student, not family, but your family's paid $7,000 to that student and you're still participating in things, we're not going to charge you anymore. Okay.
Well, you know how much
Carrie?
money the school here in Paonia, the elementary, the school fees for the parents for the year is $600. And that's for extra Spanish, handwork, and gardening and orchestra.
Elementary schools in Utah cannot charge any fees.
I know.
Carrie, how did you get that? Do you have a comment, Carrie?
I just, sorry, I have a cold. I just noticed that it on the trip, the out of state trip thing, line, it said that the fee was 1,700 per trip.
Up to 1,700.
Right,
That's if we're flying somewhere.
right. But that, if you have a very long trip, that might be very hard to stay under that. Would it be better to do that like a per day thing or something?
But the children themselves should fundraise too.
They do.
For certain things.
I'm just thinking that if you're going, like, they have these
A
kids that
European trip
go
or something.
clear
Yeah.
across the country for band or,
So out of state is not out of the country, so we might need to add that too.
well, even if they're going like, to Florida or something, like you think of
When you put it together in a
flights
group,
and-
right? When you put it together in a group, you can usually stay around that cost.
okay.
And then fundraising, like Thesa was saying.
So if they fundraise, that doesn't count as part of the fees.
The fundraising does count towards the amount that they have to pay the fee. So say they are taking a trip to Florida, right?
Mhm.
And so let me show you the other part of this, that an individual program, in order to charge that fee, has to, where did I put it?
I looked into going to Boston with my kids in 8th grade, and per student it was going to be $2,300 for a trip with everything included in it. So
Really?
that's right, it's going to be a little more than that.
Like that doesn't seem like it will give us, as much as I would not like to pay more than that for my children to do anything. I don't know if that's going to cause problems in the future.
Yeah,
It would
and
be
if you want
preferable to stay under that.
If you want to raise it, we can. That's just following what the other districts have on their fee schedule as a place to start. If you want to increase it, you can. So in order to charge a fee, whatever program, whatever field trip, whatever, they have to fill out the spending plan. So they have to figure out what is the total transportation cost, what is all of the fees that are related to it. They have to figure out what's the total cost, what's the cost per student, what's the all of the breakdown.
Could we at least put that up to 2,000 maybe?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
I just wonder, I don't know, it's hard because I don't want to be like, I don't want the teachers to be,
making it too hard on the families, but I also don't want to run into a future circumstance where we have this amazing opportunity, but it's expensive and our fee policy won't allow it.
Are you saying they can't even fundraise more than that amount, Carol?
So that this is the maximum responsibility of the student. Anything above and beyond this has to be covered by the school
Okay.
in some way, whether that's done through fundraising but whatever a student fundraises comes off of this fee.
So it's not like they could pay $1,700 and then fundraise another $300. The $300 would come off of the $1,700.
I think that's what the law says.
Wow, that's a
It
shame.
feels like that might limit us
It would.
because it's getting so expensive to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we were just going to Boston. It's not like we were going to Europe, and it was going to be $2,300 for each student.
Wow.
And we should probably do it out of the country something.
And then can the parents pay?
The parents do pay. It's not actually the student. We're actually not allowed to tell the student what they owe.
But you can tell the parents.
But you tell the parents.
Okay.
Can we legally take a student out of the country if it requires a passport?
Yes, if they have a passport.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, 12th grade, you would want to have them travel and, go to Italy and see the art or something. It's a great time too.
So then the passport would that need to be included as a fee?
I know because I don't know. I have
It's
no idea.
personal.
Fees are terrible.
So
Yeah.
Carol, you have out of state, or are we going to say out of state or out of country travel?
We can, or do you want a separate line?
I would do a separate line.
Okay.
Well, out of state would cover out of country, but if we want to have a different fee for out of country.
I think
I mean,
something more expensive for out of country makes sense, but I don't want that limit allowed for out of state, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
I think our travel policy, I'll show you the travel policy here. Our transportation policy includes field trips. We have a field trip policy.
You can always go to Alaska or Hawaii for, another experience of culture.
I am chuckling though at the idea of an out of country track and field trip. I kind of want to see that.
What's the limit for the out of the country? 3,000?
I don't have any idea. I'm wondering if we should put
I would
5.
imagine at least
I think
$3,000.
5,000 on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
Christian is also asking how much longer is this going to take?
I mean, if in airfare, and it would be in, in the high season it would be off season if children were at school. So it would be a lower airfare, but it's expensive to go,
Okay.
to safe places.
Here's the question. Is there a disadvantage to making those numbers higher?
Yeah, if we're just picking numbers randomly, why don't we do 3,000 and 5,000 then?
Yeah.
If we're just, because then we'll know that, I mean,
And it's up to, this is the maximum.
It's better to go down than to go up.
Like it gives us wiggle room,
Yeah.
right? But not, so it's not limiting us, but can,
and I think this would be worthwhile having a higher limit and also having the school support it, because these trips for a Waldorf education are very important. I mean, these senior trips and like the 8th grade trip in an elementary level, I mean, they're really kind of, it's a part of becoming part of the world, and in a Waldorf sense, that's very important. I mean, understanding a place that's not your home.
I mean, some children just went to Mexico, and when they came back, they had a stronger sense of family and more respect for elders, because of the culture there is more elder-centered. Those kinds of things. It's like Mark Twain says that traveling is the best thing for a narrow mind.
Yes, I totally agree. And it's, it's kind of a Waldorf principle, and also we don't have a football program or something that we're like putting thousands of dollars into like some high schools. I would put it more into this travel program. Our money in our schools, you know.
But we're going to have a basketball team.
We
Oh, yeah.
also have, so this is extracurricular. Oh, that's track and field. That's not where this should be.
No.
Oh, that's where Sarah's commenting.
Oh, yes. It should be under Waldorf grade trips. Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
This is where that goes.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna delete this row and we're gonna put the other back
Yeah.
to
What are esports?
Video games generally.
generally.
What?
It
The
just
thing?
we can delete it. I think
These trips, they will be optional for the families, right? So it's like we can give ourselves options, recognize that the goal is always to do it, you know, less expensive. Everyone can recognize that. But then we don't limit
One-
ourselves.
Yeah. And again, if a family's has an issue with funding, they can also apply for that waiver also and have the school pay for these, can't they? Or are
Yeah.
they optional?
Yes.
That
If
was
they're
going
on
to
the
be
school, if
Waiver
they're on the
applies
waiver, then
stuff
just-
like this?
yes.
Okay.
But that also means that we might have to be paying for 7 trips to Europe potentially.
Mhm.
And we should take that into consideration.
And can we have benefactors, people who can pay more and others?
You cannot charge, so all the school fees have to be exactly to the cost of that student to participate. You cannot charge more to compensate for the fee waivers. You can't
No, but
punish
you
the
can-
people that
but-
can pay for
No,
it by.
we're talking about
Donation.
We can get donations, yeah. Yeah, we can have
There are
donations.
wealthy people who it would be nothing for them to pay two extra places.
Mhm.
You know, I mean that
Yeah,
would have to be.
donations and fundraising. But so if the student themselves is raising money for the trip, then the money has to go towards their fee. But the school can generally do other fundraising and decide what we do with that money.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And
So
so
like,
that's where our fundraising policy comes in.
so if like the team did a fundraiser, does that money raised by the team as a whole, that doesn't come off this number?
I'm not sure. That's one of those areas that we would have to.
You know, it's so interesting because in somebody put forward this thing that say in the elementary school that all the grades, like from 3rd grade to 7th grade, do a fundraiser for the 8th grade.
Yeah.
And then then every 8th grade doesn't have to fundraise because they have so much to do to graduate. And so you're making money not
That's our
just for
fundraising
yourself,
policy, not
know,
this
but-
policy, and it's already 9:00, and we haven't even gotten to the CSP grant.
Sorry,
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't mean to bring in philosophy.
Oh no, it's great.
No, he said it's a good idea. That's really something to hear.
And that's our fundraising policy.
I was going to propose that we vote to approve it with the changes. And
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do would someone propose that we would make a motion to adopt
I just did.
our fees policy? Okay, sorry. Would someone do a second for us on that motion?
I can second it.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. And then let's have a vote for the whole quorum with hands raised or the icon. We have 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
Christian says aye.
Aye.
Okay, and do we have Marta? Oh, yeah, we do. Okay, that is a unanimous vote on the school fees.
Policy, and then the fee schedule is a separate thing, so you gotta vote on that too.
All right, can I have someone make a motion to vote on the fees
I
schedule?
motion to vote on the fee schedule.
Could someone second that for me?
I'll second.
Thank you, Thesa. And then let's have a full board vote with hands raised or icon. Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
Christian says aye.
So we have a unanimous vote on the fee schedule as well.
Okay.
Do
Yes.
you need the salaries done tonight?
If you guys have looked at them and are ready to vote on them, then it's as simple as that.
Well, I'm ready to do that. I was happy you made one. You know, we never had one when in the schools I've worked at before like this. So
I'll show you just briefly and I will let the board decide if you're ready to vote on it or not. Okay. So the justification behind this, I value transparency and honoring the divine human being in everybody that we hire. So this is for the teachers and certified employees. They're on a 10.5-month contract from August until the middle of, until the end of school, and then 2 weeks in the summer is part of their contract time for their renewal training. It starts with this base salary, and I have two options. I have starting it at 50,000 and I have starting it at 48,000, I think. And this is, they have a bachelor's degree, but they don't have a teaching license and they don't have any Waldorf training. I don't even know if it's possible to have no bachelor's degree and Waldorf certification. I don't know if there's a alternative program that would count as that. But I had it in there because I have an impression that perhaps it is. Maybe it's not an accredited university, but they went straight into Waldorf teacher training and that might be a situation. This green line is the absolute max that we will be able to pay anybody in our first year, no matter what their experience is. We're accepting Waldorf experience on a 1-to-1 up to year 7 at a actual OSNA participating or Alliance participating school. So that's where we had to do that cutoff. And then other teaching experience would be every 3 years counts as 1 year. And so I think if Chalice was going to be teaching this year, she would be placed, I think, here at year 5 or 6. Just kind of for a picture of that. If I was to be teaching, I would be here at this level at year 7. So if I was going to be hired as a regular classroom teacher, that would be my salary for this year. The
I
question?
just want to make sure I'm understanding. So for experience, if it's Waldorf experience, it's 1-to-1. If it's regular experience, they have to teach 3 years for it to count as 1 year. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And we'll verify that with most schools will give a letter saying this teacher taught this from this year to this year. It's a very standard thing. All the districts require it. So if they're used to transferring there. And then it's a part of the references that we check to verify their pay scale. Hourly employees, this level for 10 hours a week will be for community members that want to volunteer at the school, recognizing that employees at the school have a higher priority in the enrollment list. But maybe they just want to work 10 hours a week and pay for their students' lunches with that, right? It's very low amount of work for the school. But if somebody wants to be at that level, that's where it is. We have the workshops. If they want to attend the workshops, then we will give them a raise, even though they would not be required and they would not be paid their hourly rate for those workshops. And we can increase that based on there's room for negotiation in all of the hourly schedules. 10 to 20 hours a week are going to be most of our aides and part-time workers, and it can go up to $20 an hour based on relevant experience and Waldorf certification or training. And if they participate in all of our workshops, they also get a raise every year that they participate in that. This hourly rate, 20 to 40 hours a week, are our office staff and any high level hourly rate people. They will be required to attend some of our inner work workshops. They get the same bonus as our regular teaching faculty. If they come to all of the workshops, they can get an extra stipend, and they are eligible for pay raises. Any questions about hourly rates?
Carol, was this schedule, oh my gosh, I'm getting too tired. Our financial advisor looked over it and helped,
Yeah.
and it's all done with that. Okay.
Yes. All of these fee schedules have been approved by our business management. And they said, yes, they are competitive, and yes, they are within the budget that we are planning. This is the administrator salary schedule. So that's myself, that's the dean of students and the dean of pedagogy, potentially special ed director if we hire someone in-house. We also have an option to contract that out. So that kind of depends there. I sit here and our dean of pedagogy is 1 year ahead of me. So, and then our dean of students is, I think, right here. So
Why doesn't everyone just get the same? I mean, not the same, I mean, based on, hired with, why does the administration get more than the people who are in the trenches working so hard as well?
we also have 2 more months of work in the year. We work all summer instead of only 10 months. We only get 2 weeks vacation.
But the teachers are not off for 2 months. They're preparing the next year. I mean, working with children is exhausting.
Yes.
Necessary for them to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't compare the time, because the teachers never stop working.
Correct.
They work even in their sleep.
These are also, if you look at the levels, it's pretty
I know
comparable.
it's the way of life right now for
Well,
schools.
and it is a little bit more. There's also additional responsibilities, right? An administrator is a higher stressful, it does have higher stress and higher responsibility related to it.
Overall school, yeah.
Overall, and so.
And generally
And
requires.
that's really not a very big salary either, Carol.
Right,
Yeah.
and on either one of them.
Yeah.
They're
all low.
and there's not very much difference between the two. But I wanted full transparency for like anybody can look up and see exactly what my salary is. And I'm not, and I'm okay if somebody is on a higher place than me on the salary schedule. Like, I'm humble enough about that. But then also in consider, like, I might be willing to work for this base rate over here. But if I have to turn over for whatever life reason, we need to be able to hire somebody that can do the job. And so we have to be able to draw the qualified people for that. So, but this also gives people flexibility. They can say, well, I'm over here because I don't have a Utah license, but if I want this salary, all I have to do is get my Utah license and I'll work with them on doing that. If I want this salary over here, I need to get my high school certification and I'm going to help offset the tuition for them to do that. So that's just one piece of the compensation.
Are we offsetting the tuition to get Waldorf training? Okay.
Yes. And so after our initial, so I'm reserving more of the budget for professional development in our foundational years. So this is another part of their compensation, could be up to $1,000 of tuition reimbursement for getting certified, right? So not only are they going to get paid more in the long run, but I'm going to help them with the cost of getting there. As a part of their benefits. We also are looking at competitive rates for teacher retirement, as well as health benefits. So this schedule is just one piece.
There was
Yes.
some discussion pre-operationally about having stipends for interdisciplinary work. Is that still something that's on the table, or is that something that we need to get rid of temporarily for financial reasons?
I don't think that's listed in any of our current pay documents.
Okay.
I know we talked about that being a possibility, but I don't see,
I just want to make sure we're budgeting accordingly if we need to.
yeah. A little bit of the reality, since it touches this, we have a break-even number as far as budget goes to pay for our building, and that's 125 for students. At that number, we have to cut back to 4 cohorts, and that opens up blocks of time in the teacher schedules so we have 9 teachers that we have to have: 2 language arts, 2 math, 2 science, 2 social studies, and 1 PE. And if we don't have enough students to hire additional elective teachers, then administration and our other teachers, they will have the choice to go part-time and get, a part-time salary, and they can go home early, or they can pick up an elective class and fill up their schedule and get their full salary by teaching an elective class. So that's the hard reality of worst case scenario. We only get 125 students, and that's how we cut our faculty down. So instead of paying for 15 teachers, we're only paying for 9, and we adjust it in that way. If we get our full 200 or more, then we're able to hire the full breadth of teachers, and offer the full elective courses.
Okay.
Carrie, question?
Yeah, I think that you mentioned that you were considering a different fee schedule for those that don't have a bachelor's or Waldorf experience, and it was a little bit lower. I'm just wondering if it's so hard because I know these salaries are already so low, and I don't think I think all of our teachers should be being paid twice as much, but that's not the reality.
Right.
But
So keep in mind, this is a first year teacher never taught before.
yeah,
And the more experience they have, we have to cap it somewhere. And most, like the pretty standard is 7 years of experience coming in, starting out. The other thing I will say is that, so these are a little lower now, so that we can have a little bit more in the professional development budget. I would say at the end of year 3, we revisit the salary schedule and the budget overall and say, are we paying as much for professional development? Can we boost our salaries? How is our enrollment doing? And that kind of thing. So this will stand for the first 3 years, and then we adjust everybody to the new schedule when we're more stable.
okay. My question is though, it seems like those that don't have a bachelor's or Waldorf experience are making very similar to those that do. And I want there to be some motivation for our teachers to.
I thought I was sharing it, but let me share it again.
Yeah, I think she has that.
I was saying, like, I hate to pay them less, but we do want qualified teachers.
Right. So this is just a bachelor's degree, right? In this whole first box. And so if you have a bachelor's degree with no teaching license and no Waldorf, you're only getting a 2% increase every year. So your salary is growing a lot slower than if you get your certifications.
Okay.
And so if we compare year 7, it's actually a significant difference between those 2 salaries to have your Waldorf non-high school, but Waldorf certification. If you have high school certification, it's the equivalent. Here's the high school certification over here, and it is the equivalent of a master's. So as soon as you get that Waldorf high school certification, you actually move over here to the master's level.
Okay. So do you believe there's enough? I'm just like, it seems like that would be, we would want to avoid that if possible, right?
Right. So comparing a bachelor, we're not going to have someone with a bachelor's degree. Well, we might. Well, not with 7 years of teaching experience. They're not going to be unlicensed if they have 7 years of teaching experience. And if they do, I don't know if I want to hire them. But say we hire someone there and they stay this long, maybe I don't hold on to them anymore if they still aren't licensed, right? Because it does other things. But it does allow for us to keep them if they really want to. But if they're like, well, I mean, it is going to grow pretty quickly as they move up. and they're increasing more every year. If you have Waldorf certification, so you're getting 3.5% every year instead of 2.5% for not being Waldorf trained.
I just thought you had mentioned that you were considering two different.
So this one has $50,000 as the base. The other one has 48,000 as the base. So all of the salaries are a little bit lower.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I thought you just meant for that column.
No,
Okay.
no, that base. So I've all of it is
Just like
formulated.
expanded out from that first number. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
so this one is a little bit higher than the other one that I sent in the email. And that was the only difference, is that the base changes. So all of the formulas up from there also increase. So all of the salaries are a little bit higher.
Okay.
If there are no other comments, I would propose that we vote to approve the salary schedules.
I will second that.
Okay, let's have a vote. Everyone raise your hand or use the icon. We have 1, 2, 3.
Christian says aye.
Okay, we have a unanimous vote to adopt the salary schedule for the coming year.
And I'm gonna go through the CSP grant in 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, you said 9 to 9:30, so you've got a little bit of time left on that initial.
I've got 10 minutes.
Carol, I wanted to just say that I'm going to touch in with you about this ASNA certified question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so CSP grant. Desktop 2. Okay, you see that folder? So the CSP grant, I will say that the team has been amazing in doing this. We did this, just 7 months ago? And doing it again, we're probably 3 weeks ahead of where we were this time last time in the grant cycle. So we've got a lot of excellent work that has been done. So we have a lot of documents here that we are getting done. Actually, let me stop sharing my screen and let me just show you the whiteboard where we're tracking it. We are okay. So I have a list of all of the CSP grant requirements, and you can see that more than half of them are checked off.
Well,
So we have most of it uploaded. There's a few things that we're still finalizing. Our goal is to have these last couple of things finished and ready to submit to the CSP, submit to Shannon and her team for a quality check review. They're not reading any of this stuff and giving us feedback on what we've written. They're just making sure that everything is uploaded correctly, that the formatting looks correct, and that there's no errors in submission. So back to our grant here. Which screen? This screen, is this what you're seeing over here with the CSP grant documents?
I don't see one that says CSP documents. I was looking for
This
that.
is
There
CSP
it is.
grant documents is the folder.
CSP policies. Okay.
So this is our folder.
Okay.
So our budget narrative, I am down to the last $5,000 of allocating. And so at that point, it's going through and increasing some of these categories little by little until we get every penny allotted. It is organized according to our goals. And every item on here is partnered with one of the goals that we have for the program. I think this is one of the places that we are strengthening our application from the last time. So we have clear justification for how this will help us be successful. And we have 54 line items so we have shop supplies, we have shop safety, we have art supplies, we have weaving stories, we have instruments, we have chalkboards, we have chalk, we have professional development. I'm still finalizing the art studio supplies. We have a professional development library. We have computers and document cameras and projectors. We have auditorium sound with microphones and speakers. We also included this time around under the suggestion of UAPCS, a grant manager. So we will pay them over the course of, so the yearly salary would be $60,000, and for the partial year, once we get approved with the grant, for those 6 months would be $15,000 for those few months before we move into our implementation phase. And then their benefits, as well as adding the audit. When we spend more than $1 million, which we have in our planning phase, in a fiscal year, it triggers a federal audit of all of your federal programs. We purposely want to spend over $1 million between May and August 18th when our students come on campus, so that we are audited in our planning year and not our operational year, where we have federal food program and transportation and our special ed students and all of that. So once we have students in the building, we have 6 federal programs that would get audited. If we do it in our planning year, we have this CSP grant only that gets audited. And they suggested that we include the cost of that audit in our budget, so that we are so that doesn't surprise us in our other budget, and that preserves our other budget. So that's the main difference from the other one. We are asking for 2 school buses, especially considering that we have a growing community down in Spanish Fork and they have more limited access to public transportation. The Front Runner doesn't go that far down. So we can send one of our school buses down to Spanish Fork to pick up those students, and the other school bus to the Orem Front Runner station. Also, I think the max capacity is 84 passengers. And if we are at full capacity as a school and it only fits 84 students, but 75% of our students are on public transportation, that also means multiple bus runs to get everybody from public transportation. So there's that piece. I want to show you just briefly the budget narrative and how beautiful and wonderful Tanya is. So we have a few little edits, like we're going to put that budget document in order according to this budget narrative, and have the line numbers referenced for each section, so that the graders of our grant have a very clear path to everything that they need to find. So here we have our different categories of expenditures and an explanation of why they're important and how they meet our goals, and proof that we will be responsible and sustainable. I don't have in that folder our major, there's a really big summary document, and I think that's in Tanya's personal drive. So I don't actually have that to share with you. It's still in draft form, but we are going through the rubric and going section by section and making sure that everything is aligned. The SMART goals that have been written, they're mentioned here. They're really wonderful. So goal number 1 is to support academic needs and growths of our students. Goal number 2 is our transportation and equity access. Goal number 3 is establishing a comprehensive student support infrastructure. Goal number 4 is faculty retention, professional development, and operational excellence. And goal number 5, let me find one with it really quick. What's goal number 5? Program sustainability through world-class arts and vocational infrastructure. So those are the different categories that we've put all of our expenditures into, and everything is aligned. And so I feel really strong about where we are. Jeff with Red Apple is working on the 3-year budgets based on our current lease agreement, and our projected numbers of student enrollment. And he'll have those to me tomorrow. There was some issues sharing documents back and forth. But I have a call with him tomorrow for a couple hours to go through all of that, and I'll share those with the board as soon as I have those ready. So I don't know that the board has anything specifically to approve right now. And we will get anything that does need to be approved on the March agenda. That will still be before we present and defend this to the CSP grant. And so we'll just have that approval date on there. Any questions about the CSP grant and the things that we're doing?
Can we get the information that they shared with us last time also resent to the board when the time comes so that we can review our previous proposal?
Yes.
The feedback, just as an item.
Yes.
I'd like. Okay.
Yeah, I can totally do that. I
If you
think
kind of train us a little bit on how to answer questions, that would be lovely.
absolutely. I think it's appropriate for our interview, since we have more staff members now, for the board officers to come to the interview. So that would be Susan, Sarah, and Marta. And then other board members, you're welcome to join if you want to be a part of that conversation. I just think, limiting it to that, and then our 5 employees, that'll be 8 people already for that interview. Other board members, you're welcome. I'm not trying to tell you not to come, but also I think the officers will be sufficient for board representation. And then it's also not a quorum.
Yes. I was going to say, if it's not a quorum, it might be good to go over some of the things that we did not score as well on and have a mock interview to a certain extent, as long as we do not have a quorum.
Right. So I think if the 3 of you want to meet with me for that in an executive session, in an executive meeting, that's not an open meeting. It's just preparing for this, and it's not a quorum.
I fully support you guys with this grant, but yes, I have to opt out right now.
It's okay.
So don't plan on me being there, and hopefully that will help because it's not a quorum.
Yep, that'll be great.
Okay, is there someone who would who would make a motion to adjourn our meeting this evening? Thank you all for all this hard work. And Carol and everyone working with you. It's just lovely work.
We have the most incredible team. I just have to brag on my people. We have been working so hard to juggle not only this application, but enrollment and hiring processes at the same time. So we have rock star people. Send them some love. We're all working really hard, and I couldn't do it without them. Really, 90% of this has been Tanya and Chalice, and I've been doing final edits. And they've been able to give me the time to work on other important things that are coming around. So
I'm so proud of us.
yes, yes. And we also, I want to celebrate our board because we could not do it without your support. And I just really appreciate the culture that we're building and the community that we're building and the vision that we have and the intention that we have in doing it in a higher and holier way.
Hey, Susan, we're going to call that the ending verse.
Okay, that will be our ending verse.
I propose that we vote to adjourn the thing at 9:30. Perfect timing, Carol.
Okay. A second to that motion to adjourn tonight. Thank you, Lisa. And let's all make a vote, our final vote of the evening to adjourn the meeting. And thank you.
Christian says aye.
Christian says aye, especially. All right. Thank you all.
Everyone. Bye.
Recording stopped.
Guys, have a good night.
Love you all.
Love you all.
Bye.
Work team.